This kit's called the Enchanted Garden. It's worked on tweed. It's stitched with wools and cottons and lots of beads. Very, very easy stitches, but it's like an imaginary garden, and I'm going to show you how to work this design. The first thing to do is to, when you open your kit, you'll find inside that you have a piece of fabric that'll have a print on. It's got a few lines on there just so that you've got a guide to stitch, and I'm going to put my work into the spring hoop. Alright, so to do that you turn the fabric over and then you just hold the spring and then release the spring when it's just going to keep that really nice and tight. So you can see your design, and I'm going to start off with a straight stitch. So the straight stitch I'm going to work over the tweed, and if you use the print as your starting point, that'll get you the size of the stitch, and then you can carry on and work over the tweed with straight stitches. Really, really, really nice and easy and relaxing to do. So as you work the stitches, you can make some of them go over each other. Think higgledy-piggledy. Okay, so as you're approaching or you want to change colour, you just turn the work over, and then you're going to fasten off the threads just by winding a couple of threads through there, and that's enough to hold it in place. Now, one of my favourite stitches is a French knot, so that's the next stitch that's in this design. Alright, I've got my thread here. It's a stranded cotton, and I'm going to use all 6 strands. Okay, so you bring the needle up from the back, and then you're just going to hold the thread quite taut and above the surface. You're going to go round once, twice, and then you're going to take the needle point down, and as soon as you've pushed it into the fabric, you're then going to tighten that. And so as you pull the thread through, just let it travel on its own. It'll twist itself into place. So you only go round the needle twice, no more, and that's going to be enough to create the French knot. Now if you want to make loopy French knots, just the same process, except this time it's a little bit looser around the needle and makes a larger knot, like so. And they're lovely to do, very, very easy, and I'm just going to fasten off. Okay, I'm just going to show you a long-legged French knot, which is great to do, and I've chosen an orange wool to do this in. Works in any thickness of thread. It's great in a metallic thread as well. So you hold the thread above the surface of the fabric, and then you're going to wind as before around once, twice, and then instead of going into the same place, you're going to take the thread up, and as you pull it through, it'll almost have a straight stitch with the knot at the end, and you can build up a collection of French knots and just build that up into a plant. Really, really easy to do. And the beauty about this kind of stitching is that it's relaxing, and you can add as many French knots as you wish. And it's slightly variegated, this thread, so you'll just be able to work that thread really, really well, and it builds very quickly. So when you want to fasten off, you just take the threads again, and you're just going to cut the thread. And then the next thing I'm going to show you is I'm just going to show you how to do a fabric flower. If I go back to the actual picture, you can see there are some fabric flowers in the foreground there, and these are made with organza. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. Take the little piece of organza, and you're just going to cut a small strip of the fabric, Shorter lengths are better. And then you're just going to take one strand of a colour. It can be a different colour or it can be a similar colour. And then you're going to actually gather the thread up. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. I'm going to put a knot at the end, and then I'm going to hold the fabric, and I'm just going to do a running stitch all the way down. And as you get towards the end, you're then going to gather that thread, and as you pull the thread, it'll gather up into a little flower, and then you're just going to hold it in place with a couple of stitches, and then use the same thread to attach it onto your work. And you can use. Now that I've attached the flower, you can see there's a lot of texture there and they look really great. You can add as many of those onto your piece as you wish. I think they look great.